to the UX Design Challenge case study presentation and critique. We're super happy to have you here. My name is Esther. I'm a volunteer at IterateUX creative team. So we focus on bringing UX Design Challenge to the platform. Let me look at the next slide. Okay, so IterateUX, we are a virtual Discord community. We help UXers learn, connect, and grow in their careers. People of all experience levels are welcome. In IterateUX, we offer sessions and events on Discord, such as portfolio reviews and challenges to help you build your skills. There are weekly events. We hold virtual meetups with guest speakers who share their expertise. And we also have portfolio and resume reviews, where you can get one-on-one feedback to help you gain some insights. Finally, we hold design feedback, coffee chat sessions, design challenges, whiteboard challenges, and mock-up interviews. Today, we're having our first day of our presentation, and it's going to be with team 7 and then 17. They will be sharing their case studies, and they will give a 20-minute presentation followed by 10-minute mentor feedback by Liz Barraza. She's a product designer at Virtual Technology. In the end, we'll also have 5-minute Q&A for anyone who would like to ask any questions or comments for the team. So, I forgot to change this slide, but basically tomorrow there's going to be presentation and critique day 2, which is going to be Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. On Wednesday, the presentation day 3 will be March 29th at 5:30 p.m. at Pacific time. And the wrap-up party is going to be on Thursday. And we will also announce the winners. And that will be on Thursday, March 30th at 5:30 Pacific time, 5:30 p.m. So before we begin, I would like to ask you to please stay muted during the presentation, but feel free to unmute yourself when you want to share something, especially during the Q&A session at the end of the talk today. Secondly, make sure to use the chat box throughout this meeting and share any of your comments and feedbacks so that we can bring them up during the Q&A. Our virtual meetings are every Thursday at 5:30 p.m., 8:30 Eastern time. So feel free to check out our meetings as well as join our Discord channel where we can start a conversation or find information through the IterateUX community. So in the links, in the chat box right now, there will be some links where you would, if you like to volunteer or become a mentor, you can sign up for that. Also, you can go on some links for networking. So please be sure to share what you've gained from IterateUX and on your social media. Also, if you would like to leave us some feedback, feel free to fill out our surveys for our future events. You can also donate to IterateUX by going to our website and filling out the Kopi page. And this will really help us to bring more events and wonderful, helpful events to IterateUX. So we're gonna go on with our presentation. We're gonna start with team 7. So I want to turn the floor to today's team. So let's get started with the event. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. And if team 7 is ready, I will start the clock, and I can also ask you guys to share your screen. So yeah. Hold on a second, I have to start my clock. So let me just do that. Okay, so you guys can go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Vital fitness.
Hello.
Redefining. Sorry. Suraj, you wanted to say something?
Sorry, my internet just lagged. I'm sorry. You can start.
Okay. Vital fitness. Redefining the way the visually impaired approach health and fitness. This was a team project completed by 4 designers, Leah, Sara, Shilpa, and Suraj, in a span of 4 weeks for the IterateUX UXD challenge. We use Discord as our main channel of communication, Notion to document our findings, Miro to collaborate and brainstorm, and Figma to create our final prototype and case study. We were presented with 5 options for our prompt, and we spent some time brainstorming the pros and cons of choosing each one, along with any doubts we had. In the end, we chose the 4th prompt, which was next slide, which was to design a mobile/smartwatch app that makes staying healthy and fit more accessible, fun, and useful for people with disabilities. We decided to choose this prompt because it sounded the most challenging and therefore would be a great learning experience for us. We also felt that the result of this project could potentially hugely benefit a group of people whose needs are often ignored. We thoroughly assessed the positives, negatives, neutral points, and the doubts and questions we had to choose between 4 disabilities: ADHD, visual impairment, diabetes, and Down syndrome. Ultimately, after careful consideration of each disability and with the guidance of our mentor, we ultimately decided to focus on visual impairment because we thought that it presented a unique set of challenges, and we found that this group is easiest to get in contact with and research thoroughly enough to understand in the limited amount of time that we have. Sara, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, Suraj, are you on the next slide? Oh, I guess it's just lagging for me. Sorry about that. This project was divided into 3 primary phases. So there was the research phase, the define phase, and the ideate and prototype phase. And we
sorry, I have some internet issues, unfortunately, at this moment. I'm not sure what slide are we at.
Oh, we're on the design process slide, so it should be the one you're at right now.
Okay, I'm really sorry about this one.
No worries, no worries. So just to continue, we had roughly 1 week to work on each phase. So in the initial research phase, we recognized that we had a really limited understanding of the problem because we are sighted individuals. So our objective was to empathize with visually impaired people's experiences and uncover existing options, frustrations, pain points, and desires of this user group. Throughout the 1 week research phase, we conducted extensive investigative work. Our research involved reading articles about visual impairment and how it impacts individuals' experiences with technology, as well as investigating forums and Facebook groups relevant to our topic. We recruited 5 visually impaired participants and conducted exploratory interviews to gain insights into their needs and pain points. We also identified competitor apps and apps designed for visually impaired people to understand how their needs are currently being addressed and how we can improve upon it. In summary, we made sure that our research methods were thorough and multifaceted to ensure that we had a deep understanding of the target group before we dove into the project. So preliminary secondary research revealed 3 key takeaways. First, visual impairment is a spectrum. What starts off as low vision can often progress into legally blind and sometimes fully blind with age and worsening of the condition. Secondly, accessibility needs of each kind of visual impairment are different. So for example, the color contrast needs of a person who has cataracts would be drastically different from those of a person who has glaucoma. Lastly, we learned that both designers and developers have to be involved in accessibility in technology. Designers can ensure that an interface is visually accessible, whereas developers can ensure that elements are well described through tools such as alt text.
We searched for interview participants on forums and Facebook groups. We came up with research objectives to guide the questions that we formulated, which included gaining a better understanding of their day-to-day experience, what tools they currently use, and obstacles that they commonly face in fitness. Engaging in open-ended conversations with visually impaired individuals was a thought-provoking and empathy-driven experience for our team. Our study involved conducting interviews with a diverse group of participants to ensure a comprehensive understanding of all their perspectives. We interviewed 3 women and 2 men ranging in ages from 20 to 52. Moreover, we made sure to include participants with a wide range of visual impairments to gain a deeper understanding of their experiences and challenges. Each interview lasted approximately 40 minutes and were conducted remotely through Zoom calls. Following our mentor's guidance and our own discussions, we classified each user's comments as positive, negative, or neutral, and then grouped similar insights to create an affinity map. This exercise yielded valuable insights, including the challenges that visually impaired people face when it comes to fitness, how they interact with technology, and what their preferences are, and what visually impaired people's typical fitness goals look like. The affinity mappings helped us condense the findings from our user interviews into 3 key takeaways. Using outdoor fitness facilities can be frustrating and/or hazardous for this user group, especially without the assistance from a sighted person. Visually impaired people have the desire to keep track of their goals and progress, and that AI and technology have made things much more accessible for them.
We then conducted a thorough competitor analysis, evaluating both direct and indirect competitors. Among the direct competitors, we assessed 3 audio-based fitness applications. Revision Fitness, which was developed by a visually impaired Paralympic athlete. Aptive Fitness, which is a major player in the market that caters to both visually impaired and sighted individuals. And Eyes Free Fitness, which is a fitness app for visually impaired people that has since been discontinued. For our indirect competitors, we considered Be My Eyes, which is a platform that connects visually impaired individuals with sighted volunteers for support, and the Eyes Free Fitness YouTube channel, which offers audio-based workout sessions. We analyzed these platforms using SWOT analyses and formed 3 main takeaways. Apps need to provide precise control over users' fitness experience. Community and social features can increase user engagement and make fitness a more enjoyable experience. And visually impaired people benefit from simple and straightforward UI that is easier to navigate.
This concluded the first week of the challenge. We went into the second week, the define phase, equipped with a wealth of messy insights and understanding of the target user's pain points, user needs, and the gaps in the market. It was now time to define the problem, set an objective, and create a persona to represent our user. First, we set about sifting through the immense amount of data that we had gathered to unify them into common themes and refine our focus. This meant that we had to bring our persona to life and understand what their goals and frustrations were, which would help us define what exactly the problem was and to allow us to ideate on plausible features and solutions. Say hello to Alex. He is a 38-year-old transcriber who has been diagnosed with cataracts. 3 key aspects of Alex include his long-term goal, which is to be moderately fit so that he can lead a long and rich life. He wants fitness guidance that is specific to his visual condition, and he wants to be able to engage in fitness safely. He also wants to be able to track his progress in his fitness journey and does not like to be dependent on a sighted person whenever he needs to get a workout in. And then next we worked on our problem statement. To frame effective problem statements, we looked back at takeaways from our user interviews, affinity mapping, and the competitor analysis to distill a few motivations and pain points. Empathizing with our persona Alex also helped us narrow the scope of our problem. We went about structuring several problem statements using the popular who, what, where, and why framework before narrowing it down to a single all-encompassing problem statement.
After a lot of deliberation, we arrived at our final problem statement. People with visual impairments face accessibility barriers when engaging in fitness activities, putting their safety and physical health at risk. With the problem statement in mind, we formed our objective to strategize and design a mobile fitness app to help visually impaired people reach their health goals in a safe and engaging manner. Once we finalized and framed our problem statement, we broke down each aspect of the statement and formed how might we questions. Some questions we asked were how might we make app-based exercises more accessible for the target user? How might we ensure user retains control over their fitness experience? How might we help prevent safety hazards when engaging in fitness? And how might we ensure user is motivated to start and stay on fitness journey? We use the how might we's as a guide for ideating possible solution features. We then created an impact versus effort matrix and organized possible features in the matrix to assess the priority of the different features our app could offer. The how might we exercise helped us really look through all the noise and bring the core of our project down to 4 key solution features, or the 4 pillars of vital fitness. The first 2 pillars, customization and accessibility, go hand in hand. The needs of the visually impaired are specific and different from those of sighted people. This means the ability to completely customize experience and ensure accessibility in every aspect of the app is of utmost importance. The third pillar is trackability. All users we interviewed shared the common desire to be able to track progress to help them stay motivated. And the last pillar is safety. Since this was another aspect every user we interviewed touched upon and also identified through our competitive analysis as something not really being offered by any player in the market.
We closed the second week of the challenge knowing exactly what we wanted to achieve and what features we wish to include in our final design. With these ideas in mind, we moved on to the third and final phase, the ideate and prototype phase. Going into the final phase of our challenge, we knew we were racing against time to get the prototype completed. We had 3 main goals for this phase. Finalize the sitemap, zero in on an appropriate design style, and prototype the key screens for a minimum viable product that incorporates the key solution elements that we had ideated. Now that we had some idea of the key features we wanted to implement, we wanted to define how Alex, our persona, would navigate the app through a sitemap. Creating the sitemap gave us further clarity and enabled us to move on to wireframing and designing the solution. Before diving into the high-fidelity prototypes, we created a mood board to help guide our design decisions. After conducting some research, we settled on typographical design as a design style to draw inspiration from. Typographical design values function over form and aesthetics, favoring raw minimalism. Typically characterized by an exceptionally simplistic approach to layout and UI design, it proved to be an ideal match for our app's functionalities, extreme color contrasts, and minimal visuals.
We then got to prototyping. All important screens went through a minimum of 3 levels of iterations. We first started with creating quick sketches on paper to get out all of our ideas, then created a mid-fidelity digital prototype, and finally the high-fidelity prototype. Shown here are examples of how the home screen and the exercise screen progressed from paper to digital prototypes. We took several measures to try and make sure that our designs were accessible. We performed tests such as trying our designs with a screen reader, shown on the right, recreating impaired vision using glasses, shown in the bottom, and using AI to ensure important information is readable, as shown on the top.
Our first key feature is accessibility. Shown here are only a couple of the several accessibility features that we added. The first group shows how syncing the app to the phone's built-in accessibility features is prioritized in the onboarding section. The second group shows how we minimize the need to use the keyboard by providing chips for several goal-setting questions. And the third group is a screenshot of the screen reader test that we conducted on all important pages to make sure that our design was compatible. Apart from these, some other ways we ensured accessibility included prominent call to action buttons, high contrast of design elements, minimal visuals, and maximum text that is screen reader friendly, and ensuring all interactions provide some form of haptic feedback. Our second feature is customizability. We prioritize customizations as the first screen of onboarding. Here, based on the user's visual condition, we suggest some color contrasts that are known to be the most conducive, but the user can also choose to override this suggestion and scroll through all of the available options to choose the features that they feel most comfortable using. The second group shows how the workout video has various high contrast duotone filters, which make it easier for low vision individuals to follow along. Trackability is our third feature. Because all of the users touched upon trackability of progress, we were sure to build out the app so that all forms of progress could be tracked. The tracking feature is further enhanced when the user chooses to sync their app with their smartwatch. And safety was our last key feature. In order to enable users to become less reliant on a sighted person, we recognized the need for safety measures. To address this, we implemented 2 layers of safety. The first one, we created a guardian system inspired by the Oculus Meta Quest, where the user sets a safe zone perimeter using their phone camera and then places the phone at a standard distance. With the front camera, the phone monitors the user's movements and alerts them through vibrations and flashing lights on the phone, as well as vibrations on their smartwatch if they stray outside of the safe zone. Second, we added an easily accessible SOS button on the exercise screen that requires mindful access and cannot be accidentally pressed. This button allows the user to immediately notify their emergency contact in case of an emergency. And there were 2 particular flows that we wanted to highlight. The first one here is the onboarding screen, where the user goes through and selects from the list of visual conditions, and then the app suggests their ideal color contrast and text sizes based on what they selected. The user is also able to override the app suggestions based on their custom preferences. And after signing in, the user also adds other personal details and fitness goals. The second screen or flow that we wanted to highlight was the exercise screens. We chose to highlight the exercises directly on the home page from where the user can select from a list of suggested workouts. Once the user is in the workout screen, they can also modify the video filters based on personal preference. This flow also demonstrates how the user activates and sets up the Guardian safety shield and how they can use the SOS button. With that, we concluded our prototype week. Throughout this design challenge, the main 3 obstacles we faced were empathizing with a disability we haven't experienced, organizing consistent meetings between members who have very different lifestyles and schedules, and working against a short period of time that we had to finish our project. And the next step is for us to validate current solutions with real users and to iterate accordingly. Through iterative testing with our target user group and evaluation, we can continue to improve our solutions and deliver a more user-centered experience. The 3 biggest learnings from our project were that creating solutions that consider extreme use cases betters the entire experience for everybody. Second, if you don't understand a user group, you just have to ask the right questions and they are more than likely willing to guide you. And lastly, there is a lot more to consider when designing for accessibility than simply designing screens. Due to the limited time we had to complete this project, we weren't able to carry out every feature that we wanted to. Some of the next steps we would like to incorporate into our project include continuing to cater to more visual impairments, leveraging computer vision to address spatial safety with AI, using the Apple Watch as an interaction touchpoint while performing any activity, and of course, user testing. Thank you for your time. Working on this project has been a highly gratifying experience for our team, and that we hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we did presenting it.
Thank you guys for sharing. You guys did a really great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, guys. I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the countdown, and we want Liz, our mentor, to give us some feedbacks for the team. So we can start.
Okay. First of all, congratulations. I think it's one of the best case study about related with accessibility I've seen so far. And I really like all your process, and I have some comments, but little just details to maybe make it to the next stage. But in general, I would say it was very well made, very well thought. I really like how you connected. Are you balancing this presentation, explaining your process? So that's the thing I want to know more than the final product. And well balanced with also showing the product. So I think it's an extremely good presentation. If you have to go through an interview and talk about your portfolio, this presentation will help you a lot to do that. Everything is very clear, and I feel like I want to hire you, all of the team for my company. So yeah, so some details. I have my notes here. I am curious about what are the obstacles you found when you were doing the research. Sorry, the research sessions with the users. Was something particularly difficult when you were interviewing people with this disability?
Yeah, so the very first we encountered was getting them on a Zoom call. That was our first lesson, that accessibility starts from at the very basic level. Even for them to come on the Zoom call was something that we needed to figure out. Our first interview participant was not able to join that. Then we had to work around in a way, get on a phone call or find someone. So that was a very important learning lesson that, okay, that is why we focus more on onboarding. Like getting started with interaction is something where we need to bring in the accessibility and features. I would say finding participants was challenging because it is a very specific group, and when we found, then even in that group there is a lot of variety. So another challenge in the research phase was to find the commonality and decide on what subsection or niche should we start catering towards. But eventually with the process, we started with the process of elimination, and with the ideas which we can perform in this given timeline, we prioritized some, and we had ideas for other groups. but as a whole, we ideated for a lot. But yeah, it also taught us how to work in our limited time manner and how to prioritize and who to focus on.
Right. And so considering people have problems coming into a Zoom meetings, that is something fairly simply or well known for people in general, how do you feel these same users will be able to interact with your app? Do you think they will have an easy job doing that?
So yes, we identified a range. So again, this is for visually impaired, so being completely blind to some level of visual impairment. So in our ideate phase, we tried ideating for the whole spectrum, but we realized that we're working with screens, and screens is not a very conducive solution for this specific group. So we then catered our solution toward partially blind people. So that's why even in our conditions, what we have focused right now is things which have partial blindness, and we have ideas to cater to complete blind and how we can address them also. But again, those are not completely solved with just an application or a smartwatch. It needs a lot more different solutions and different kind of things to come together to help them. So even in our flow, we have a screen where we communicate. We'll continue to support more and more cases.
Mm-hmm. I will recommend maybe to use voice control, voice commands, and some people will not need to interact with your screen at all, especially after they set up their account. Maybe if they want to start doing exercise tomorrow in the morning, they don't need to go to click on so many screens. They will start the app and they do a command, or the app will, I don't know, tell you your workout for today is this, and you just say start and you start something like that. Voice command is something very good for visually impaired people.
Yeah, so there are those features we thought of, like pairing the smart speakers and favoriting your workout. So when the time is come, the app itself nudges you. So you do not need to go through the app. Just you can tap on your watch and the workout will start. And since your speakers are connected, that's why we have the screens over here where you can connect to different kind of smart devices, and it will let you know. Because in our interview, a couple of people told us that they rely a lot on their smart speaker like Alexa and Google Home at their home.
Right.
So that is one important faction in our solution over here. Yeah, like over here. So we have watches, earbuds, speakers. So we have thought of all those connections. So as I said, it is for this particular group, the screens is not something which is the best solution. It has to cater to all different senses, haptics, sound, even probably in some cases, even smell, if the machine can do that.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Very good discussion. And that's something that you can add for obviously in your case study for the future. It's a very important feature. Other thing I really appreciate how you identify the main pain points for these people, and how you created the how might we questions. It's very well connected, and I really enjoyed that part of the presentation. And now I really like the visual design too. I think it's very clear. Something you might want to improve in the future is the onboarding, because people know about their disabilities, but they don't know about the whole spectrum of disabilities out there. So maybe just a question like, what kind of disability you have, and then you select, and then the application automatically set the colors and font size and everything to that disability. That might be something to do. That's just make the onboarding maybe more simple.
Sorry, but I think that's exactly what we have done over here. If I'll just try and show you in the prototype if I have.
Even more simple than that. I think it's still some room to do it, to do one or two screens maximum to,
Yeah, so like after the splash screen, the very first thing is we ask what is your condition. And again, this Figma can't prototype that, but ideally the screen would be read by a screen reader.
Right.
So there would also be a voice thing. And then if you touch,
if I click in one there, for example, glaucoma.
Let's say if you click on retinopathy, the screen color would come like this. And if you select, let's say, cataract, the screen color is according to your condition. And
Right,
even
and then
then,
I can just go next in
even
case I
then you
want
have
to.
your
Okay.
preferences, and you can modify as per your need. For example, if the font is not readable to you, you can test it out with serif, because in some cases serif fonts prove to be better. So that's why
Okay.
the very first thing what we do is identify your condition, and the whole app experience is catered as per that as per your condition.
Okay, so this screen will be already set up according to the first thing
Yeah.
okay. Great, good. And the next thing, again, not too much about the work you've done so far, because it's very good. Just an additional thought, and maybe something that someone will ask you in an interview, for example, is this is great. I love the design, but now we need to build this, and now we need to talk with our developer team. So
Yeah.
what are the things you need? What are the red flags you see in your design that might need more discussion with the developers, because they might not have all the time in the world to implement, and we need to prioritize. So where are the red flags you see in your app that you should be discussing with the developers in depth?
So the design style that we went ahead, typographical, is basically because the visually impaired people use screen readers a lot, and screen reader is basically, it reads from top to down bottom. So first of all, whatever we design, we have to expose the character in development. So the software, the phone, the device, whatever it is being displayed on, that needs to be able to understand the character and read it aloud. So you can't have it in containers which is not accessible. So first developer problem would be that. The second most, I feel the complicated thing would be, because in designing the design system also, it was a bit challenging in how to manage the color system, because it is not just two, like a dark mode and a light mode. We have different color themes, and based on that, the logic and algorithm would be very different. So I think in this particular one, designing the design system, encoding the design system would be a bit challenging. Apart from that, the layout is very simple. What we have also used is the chips format. We don't want to implement anything which is nested, no drop-down menus, no open menus. If you have something, any option, for example, over here, this is a very common practice. So everything has to be worked in chips format. For example, I will show you another screen. We could have easily nested this into a more section, but we have it out in the open, and you can just tap it, and it acts like a filter, it acts like a toggle, but to end user, they just read the button. And we also are avoiding a lot of icons, because icon, when you have blurry vision, turns to become a blob. So that's why we have dependent lot on a screen reader. So all those buttons should be readable is the biggest engineering challenge.
Okay, and just to finalize, for the rest of the team, what other features do you think might be challenging for developers to build?
Sorry, do you want me to answer, or you're asking
Maybe other person in the team, if you have any other thoughts too?
Maybe the accessibility guidelines, like ensuring everything is screen reader friendly, ensuring every image or video that we have is having the alt tags mentioned correctly. Those were the challenges which I think developers, we need to communicate with them properly.
Okay. I will say that a very big red flag here is the idea you have to do the Guardian, like in the VR, for example.
Yeah.
That might be extremely challenging, because it might need some special libraries and something. So that's something maybe you might want to have for the second iteration, but maybe out of the MVP, but start with something simpler than that. But yeah, I invite you to think about, this is a great design, it's an amazing application, but now how to translate this to real life, and you have maybe a couple of months for the developers to build, and then you have to start thinking about what are those challenges, so you can maybe adapt your design to the technical constraints too.
Yes, anything related to computer vision would be challenging.
Yeah, very
requires
challenging.
Another specification, 3D tracking, and all of stuff. Yeah.
Excellent job. Congratulations. I really liked your case study, and I'm looking forward to see your case study in your portfolio in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Liz. I want to turn the floor to our next team. So team 17, you guys can start, if you can first share your screen, and then I'll just start the timer now.
All righty.
Start timer.
Present.
Hi there. We are team 17 in this IterateUX design challenge. I'm Jenny, and the rest of the team includes Rosanna, Xiaowen, Tamara, with our Gloria as our mentor. Thank you for allowing us a chance to present our design. Let's jump right in. In this presentation, we will talk about the design challenge we chose, what research methods we used during the empathize phase, and how we used the insights we gathered in the define phase, and how we ideated and created prototypes, and then to our next steps. For the design challenge, we decided to create a health productivity app geared towards the older community. We wanted to implement gamification as well as motivational features and overall a way to track everything to do with their health and wellness.
Why create a health productivity app for the elderly? Here's what our initial research showed us. As of 2021, the app market for the healthcare industry is worth around $50 billion, with expected growth to almost $150 billion by 2028. As of February 2022, over 350,000 apps are available, and they're frequently used by older adults aged 50 to 80. Since 2013, smartphone adoption among older adults has increased by 39%. Pearl Lee, who is a geriatrician at Michigan Medicine, said, "Now that most older adults have at least one mobile device, health-related apps can provide an opportunity to support their health-related behaviors, manage their conditions, and improve health outcomes."
So we decided to jump right in and research more about what users of this app would want. We created a research plan that included these goals and objectives. First, we wanted to better understand what elderly users want and need in a health productivity app. Second, we hope to discover ways to motivate users to use the app through gamification. Our typical user would be above the age of 45 and needs to track their health and wellness on a daily basis. We started by doing a competitive analysis of direct and indirect competitors in the productivity app sector. Our objectives were to see what features were available in these apps, like whether they had something to remind users to take their medication or how they tracked a user's exercise. Some of these apps included ones that tied health insurance providers like Kaiser and Sydney. And others were more niche like Fitbit and Duolingo for the gamification. We did a feature inventory to compare what features each app included. Before we conducted user interviews, we created a short survey in order to get better understanding of how users currently track their exercise, medication, doctor's appointments, and diet. From there, we conducted phone interviews with 4 women and 2 men between the ages of 45 and 80 to learn more about their pain points and frustrations. And based on our users' interviews, we gained some insights about our target users. First, users are in fact forgetting to exercise and want a way to stay on track. Second, users are not typically forgetting to take their medication, but they also do not have a way of tracking it besides remembering to take it. Finally, most users said that their biggest pain point overall was having to keep track of everything in their life that's related to health and wellness.
One user participant said, "There's lots going on in my life and there's not enough time in the day. Things on an app can help, especially when in a funk. I know when I'm doing nothing, I can go to the gym. Something motivational would give me a push." This showed us that a health productivity app with gamification and motivational features is something that users want and need. Whoops. I think I accidentally clicked the end. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. Based on the interviews, we created an affinity map, grouping key quotes and phrases together. The different groupings included what users said about tracking exercise, diet, doctor's appointments, medication, overall app features, and miscellaneous. To further empathize with our users, we created an empathy map with the goal of understanding more of what drives users' behaviors and to create a shared understanding of the user. Meet Barbara Cheng. Barbara is a 59-year-old married school teacher living in Sacramento, California. She is pre-diabetic, thus has to monitor her blood sugar levels. She also suffers from high cholesterol, which means she takes a daily cholesterol medicine and has been recommended to exercise regularly. Her frustrations and pain points include having to find time and motivation to exercise, worrying about forgetting to take her medicine, and feeling overwhelmed with how to stick to her recommended diet plan. Her main motivation is to be healthy in her older age, so that she can see her grandchildren grow. Barbara's user story would be that as a busy teacher, wife, and grandmother, she wants to be able to manage her medication, diet, doctor's appointments, and exercise routine so that she can be healthy in her older age. Barbara's journey map would include phases of monitoring her health, checking medication, and tracking exercise. When monitoring her health, she would open the app, check the dashboard, and feel neutral and nervous about establishing a digital routine. When checking her medication, she will feel relief once she takes her medicine because she doesn't like taking pills and feels annoyed with having to click that she took them. When tracking exercise, she would create a goal like a 20-minute walk and feel accomplished and tired when she's done.
So with all that understanding of our user Barbara, we asked ourselves, how might we help elderly people manage their medical appointments, or help them exercise daily with motivational encouragement, or help them eat healthy with simple guidance? Overall, we asked ourselves, how might we create a fun and easy way for the elderly people to manage their health needs? Due to the time constraints of this challenge, we as a team decided to focus on two features of the app that most of our interviewees were more interested in: tracking exercise and tracking medication. Here are some sketches we made for those, as well as sketches for what would be the dashboard and the profile page. We then turned the sketches into wireframes and continue to iterate on user flow and features. And we present you Good Health, an app that helps you manage your appointments, health, exercise with the older community in mind. By building a design system, it allows us to be more efficient, consistent, and enables us to communicate clear design standards. Once this was streamlined, we were able to focus on the most important task, which is user needs and improving user experience.
With the design system in place, we started working on our design mockups. Here's the mockup for the dashboard and profile. The dashboard includes all tracking on one page, making it easy for the user to quickly track appointments, medication, and exercise. There is also a weekly calendar view, which allows the user to see what is coming up in their week. The profile includes simple settings for notifications and security, as well as health stats for the user. For the feature that tracks medication, users can easily view their medication and add new ones. Once they accomplish taking their medicine, users are awarded with a gamification conclusion screen and motivational message. For the feature that tracks exercise, users can start a walk that uses a Google GPS type navigation system. The further they walk, the more points they're awarded. And just like when they track medication, users are awarded with a gamification conclusion screen and motivational message at the end of their walk. As users earn points, they'll be able to redeem them for gift cards to Starbucks or Amazon. When they're ready to redeem, they can select which reward based on the amount of points they have, and then receive the gift card via email. And here's our prototype in action. After going through the login page, the user is taken to the dashboard where they can clearly see all the things they need to track. Here they can see all the medication they're taking. And when they select one, they can see more detailed information about it. When they go back to the home page, users can then track their exercise. And before starting a walk, they can see other exercise goals that they have. And they start the walk. The more steps that they take on their walk, the more points they'll accumulate. As shown in the mock-ups, this uses a GPS-style navigation. And when they complete their walk, they're awarded their points. And from there, they can immediately go to redeem them. Another way users can access what they track is by using this button on the navigation bar. They can also view their profile, where they can see personal health info and settings for the app, as well as redeem their points from there.
For our next steps, we as a team will be conducting usability testing on our wireframes, which we have already started these past couple of days. Then we will go on to testing high fidelity designs in order to improve user experience. Based on the feedback, we'll update the design. We'll also continue designing the user flow for the tracking the doctor's appointments and adding the tracking of the diet. For a future iteration, we will add more personalization to user profile, such as goal, workouts, goal weight, and detailed rewards page. We had a great time doing this design challenge, and thank you. And we hope you enjoyed it as well. Now we will turn this over to Liz for feedback and any questions you might have. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You guys were pretty quick with your presentation. You had a lot of time still, but we'll turn it over to Liz now. And yeah, Liz, if you have any feedbacks, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very short presentation, short and sweet. It's good. Okay, I have some questions. I like the problem you are trying to solve. I am very familiar with senior people using apps. I have my 76-year-old mom trying to use things, and she gets very confused most of the time. And I have my mother-in-law. She's like 69, and she's a very advanced users of computer, but I can see as a designer, I sit with her and I see the problems she's having when interacting with apps. So in general, I think it was a great work on designing the app. I appreciate your effort and the dedication. And I have a few suggestions or questions that might help you to improve the app functionality and accessibility in general. So first, I'm concerned about the login process. So have you considered any other alternative options to the traditional login and password approach? Because it might be challenging for older people to remember password or providing, can you provide any other alternative for that?
Yeah, I think we did, like once they initially log in, like maybe they have help for it, or this would be a one-time thing, and they'll be able to do like a Face ID login eventually, or just type in a passcode or something like that. Are you saying that the first login, like the first time, could be maybe different?
Yeah, I'm wondering, like maybe trying to think if you can think of other ways to improve the login, because passwords are the thing they never remember. And if I don't have a Facebook or Google account, it might be a little tricky for me to come here and start the app. But yeah, that's one first of my thoughts when I saw the application. I'm also curious about which aspects of the design were specifically targeted towards the older population. Did you consider things like font size, color schemes?
Yeah, we were thinking of having, we checked all the colors, like this blue with WCAG, making sure it was accessible and good contrast. We tried to stick with just really easy to read text. And these buttons here, just really simple and big, nothing that they would need to like open to look at or scroll to. Like it's all just right there. Yeah, anything else? I know two of our other teammates are on as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to field any questions from here as well. Let me know.
Okay. What about simplifying the functionality of the first screens? For example, maybe I am not, when I come to the app, maybe I don't want I want just to know if I need to take my medication. Maybe I'm not interested in a doctor appointment because I know it might be next month or 2 months more. So maybe something I don't want to see in the app all the time. And maybe the pills and the exercise are more important to me. So how can you think this screen and make it more task focused? Normally older people want just to go maybe to do something very simple in the app.
I have two thoughts on that. I think the first iteration we went super simple, and then we started talking about what if they want to see their weekly stats. So this is the compromise we reached for the dashboard, but I absolutely think we can definitely do that. We could I'm just gonna think off the top of my head. We could, have in a profile view, have a setting where it's default set to only your tasks for the day, and then if they want more, there could be a CTA on the dashboard where you could say check your week, check your month. So we could do it that way, and this could be the view for the week instead of the default. So there's definitely ways to do that, and we haven't done usability testing yet, so we're not sure, and we can't comment until we do that, which is not covered in the sprint. So. But that's definitely we should that's definitely something we should look into. And thank you so much for your question.
Did you find any other competitor app that is doing something similar?
I was personally not able to find something, but maybe someone else on the team found it. Otherwise, yeah. So for me, what I thought was cool was basically we took Fitbit, like a lot of our UI languages inspired by Fitbit, the plus sign and everything. If you guys have a Fitbit, and we used a lot of the Duolingo gamification language. So those were two concepts we took, and I personally did not find a super app that did everything, but I will let my team speak.
Yeah, there were apps that only track like your medication, like you could tell them like, I need to take this on this day and this many times, and it will send you a reminder. And it was only that. And then for like doctor's appointments and stuff, there are a lot of the apps that are tied to health insurance. Like if you have Kaiser or Aetna or whatever, then they have their own app for talking to your doctor and letting you know when your appointment's coming up. But then those didn't have medication reminders or exercise trackers. So we were kind of trying to do like a all-in-one super app, like Shawan said.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I think I will challenge you maybe to one of the options you can do when you don't have you haven't try your prototype, your MPP, your first prototype. I would say go to those apps and do a usability testing with those apps. So just take the one for the medication and ask the people to try it and discover what problems they are having with that app. Maybe they don't see clearly when they miss their pills, or they don't see clearly what is the next thing. So that will give you a very good idea of how to avoid those problems that someone else is having already, and make the next step of your design will be based on that. You can go to those apps and see the comments too. The comments, normally people really like to complain. So people will tell you, oh, I don't know, this app is not, the notifications are very bad, or it's too complicated, or I keep forgetting things, try to maybe go to those competitors and see where are the pain points that people are having with those apps. So then your design will be one step ahead of them. And my last question is, when you were doing research, where are the, apart from the functionality, you said these senior or adult people want to focus on medication and exercise and doctors, but what else you discover? What are the special challenges when you are designing with this population?
Did you say challenges in population, you said?
What things you discover in your research that is especially challenging for this group of people because of their age?
I'll let Rosanna speak to that, because I think she had more of the interviews.
Well, so we asked really about, how the users currently track all of these things. And one thing that came up, at least with the people that I spoke with, was that there's just no motivation. That was a challenge. Like, they know they need to exercise, they know they need to do this, do that, but there was just no motivation to do that. So that's why we wanted to incorporate some of the gamification. And someone did say, like, oh, if I go for a walk and I might get rewarded with a gift card at the end, that's going to motivate me to go on these walks, so that I can get that gift card or whatever it is at the end, that reward. And I think another thing, just like Shawan was talking about with Fitbit and Duolingo, we kind of also incorporated what Starbucks has with their rewards, like you earn stars and then you can get, an upgrade on your drink or a free pastry or whatever. So that was another thing that we want to incorporate, because that was something that was a challenge for them. It's like, yeah, we know we have to do these things, but it's also easy not to do it.
Yeah, great. I like how you focused your three main goals in the apps, and I think that was a very good decision. But just to kind of working in the previous in the work for the previous team too, there are some things you need to consider when you are designing for other people. It's not only about visual things, it's about how challenging it is for them to understand what is happening on the screen. So there are things like accessibility, color, font size, high contrast color, maybe use audio. Many people are not very familiar with technology, so it needs to be very intuitive and easy to navigate, very concise language. The touch target has to be kind of big too. I see the three main buttons here, they are big and it's good, but maybe the rest of the design is it might be a little challenging for people who normally are using their app with this with very big, it looks awful, like a very big font. It might be a little challenging for them. I think the layout, the content layout is maybe not the best too. Maybe it needs some iteration, but I'm sure you will discover that after you do some usability tests. So yeah, all these little things. I think your case study has a lot of things to improve. It's a very good start, but I will suggest you to go with these mockups, do a little prototype, and try to test this with people, and you will discover many things maybe that you it's difficult to see now, but I think it has a lot of potential.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so we're done with our presentations today. You guys did a wonderful job. I think that, well, right now we'll just turn the floor to people who might want to ask some questions, any comments.
Before we move ahead, I would like to take a photo with everyone. So if everyone can just turn on their cameras, would like to see lovely faces. Nice. See, we have so lovely faces out here. If anyone would like to turn on their camera. Great. We'll give 2 more minutes for people to turn on their camera and then we'll take a photo with everyone. Nice. Okay, so let's go ahead. 3, 2, 1. Go. Perfect. Nice. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Nice.
Thanks for volunteering to present today. I hope it was a great exercise for you guys all.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really good experience. We work on a presentation, we work on a design and things like that. And presentation is one of a different skill, communication, presenting, even answering those questions. Like Liz were asking many questions. This will help you to get that idea, like if people are asking any question in your job interview, how you can communicate, how you can tell a stories and things like that. Now everything is fresh. You guys have got like really very good amount of experience, like real world experience. Like you connected with your users, like actual users. You have done the research and things like that. You have all the story with you now. So go ahead. Great. Good job, everyone. Nice, nice, nice. Anyone has any questions? Feel free to ask any question. We have Liz. She can also guide you. Yes, great. So, yep. Thank you, everyone. We have 2 more presentation days, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and then we'll have our wrap-up party. So see you on all the events. And yep, kudos
Thank
to
you.
both the teams. Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See
See you
ya.
Thank you,
tomorrow.
everyone. Good job.
Good
Thank you.
job.
Hey everyone, on behalf of IterateUX, we would like to thank you so much for watching this week's event. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe. We'll have events every Thursday at 5:30 Pacific time. Join our Discord in the description to find out more.